We all know teacher wellbeing is still such a huge issue in education, and I take a very frank approach to wellbeing. I think the best and most important way in which schools can improve teachers' wellbeing is to obviously trust them to do the job they're capable of doing, which is therefore looking at ways to reduce workload to give teachers that time back. But I know some schools are sort of missing the mark with wellbeing. In fact, I asked you guys to share some of the more pointless wellbeing initiatives you've seen. Some of the things I'm going to share, I don't want to annoy anyone or upset anyone if you're guilty of doing it. I know the intention's there, it can be a nice, thoughtful thing to do, but you just got to see the bigger picture. There's no point in doing these token little gestures if the environment within a school is toxic and doesn't trust teachers. Until that's addressed, I just think a lot of these other things don't have any impact. A couple of key takeaways from reading all the comments on Instagram and Facebook from this post is, number one, you cannot force teachers to do these sort of things. You cannot make it compulsory. You're going to completely miss the point. And secondly, if you are going to do something, it has to be within the contracted hours. It can't be outside of those teaching hours where it then eats into time outside of school. Because actually there were some positive examples, people saying it has worked, but those were those examples that either weren't compulsory or weren't outside school hours. Well, I can't make a video like this about wellbeing without mentioning these massive hypocrites. How they can dare say they care about teacher wellbeing when they are single-handedly the reason wellbeing is at the lowest point, and especially workload. These guys coming into school and asking about wellbeing like they actually care, when some of their inspectors are going around bullying teachers out of the profession. Plus, they're the single reason why workload's gone through the roof exponentially, because of their inspection framework. Because no longer can you just be a teacher. No, you've got to be an expert in a subject most of us didn't study past GCSE and know that subject inside out and how it progresses across a whole school, just in case you get a deep dive. Ofsted saying they care about wellbeing is like me saying I'm on a new diet. All right, who with? Deliveroo. This next example comes from a friend of mine who works in a school where they had a wellbeing coordinator, subject leader, whose only thing was to bring an ice cream van into school to give every staff member an ice cream, which was great, apart from my friend's lactose intolerant. There was another example of, to improve teachers' well-being, teachers were allowed to wear jeans. I'd just like to state, I've not worn jeans for ages. Since the pandemic, I'm joggers all the way. The idea that some teachers are forced to do some mindful colouring in when teachers are also having to follow so many non-negotiables, using 15 different highlighters to mark a set of books, because if you don't do that, if the book doesn't look like a unicorn's defecate a rainbow all over it, you'll get a right rollicking next book scrutiny. But yeah, mindful colouring in will sort that. The hugging a mug craze came out quite a bit on the post, which is quite funny, because this idea you've got to pay it forward so that you've got to go to the shop and back when you've not got time to bloody go to the toilet most days. But yeah, one teacher said they feel the biggest mug if they're stuck in school till 6:30 every night, pointlessly marking books, knowing the children in the class can't even read it. Being asked to do wellbeing surveys, which again is eating into your time. And what's funny is quite a few people said when they were honest on these surveys, they then got disciplined by the SLT who didn't like what they said. Forced yoga wellbeing staff meetings. I mean, if someone tried to force me to do a yoga staff meeting, I'd give them a pose, but involve one finger, if you catch my drift. Emailing about wellbeing on a Sunday. Need I say more? This one came out quite a bit. All these shout outs and shout out boards, and some people made some really good points about a staff shout out board, how it can be quite cliquey, people only nominating the friends, and this idea that you've got to find someone who's going above and beyond, when ultimately we're all going above and beyond every single day. And for someone just getting into school and doing the job is absolutely massive. So creating that sort of competitive element might not necessarily be best. But by far the most popular answer in this post was wellbeing staff meetings. Now, I've been asked to lead wellbeing staff meetings in schools, and I make it clear I don't do wellbeing sessions, right? I'll do sessions where I try and show teachers lots of ways in which technology can make their life a bit easier, saving them time, because I'm not going to stand there and patronize you and tell you what's great for your wellbeing because it's good for my... We all know it's so subjective, wellbeing. What you need is the time to do it. So my training focuses on that, how I can give you that time back through using technology. And I'm often asked by teachers, I've been tasked with leading a wellbeing staff meeting, Mr. P, can you recommend anything I can do? And I say, yeah, cancel the meeting. The best thing you can do is give teachers that time back.